The other week when writing for episode 123, I had one of the most explosive and exciting feelings when it comes to my writing. An amazing internal feeling that the physical side of wrestling rarely ever gave me. Let me explain. I draft multiple stories in their own separate documents. This makes it easier for me to build week by week plots for specific stories and characters. Otherwise, I'm just going to have 30 or 40 pages of just all these storylines, and I need to separate them in order to actually make sense of everything. Now, this does sound good in theory, and it's the best kind of practice and way for me, but I do find myself facing a couple of problems every now and then from this. Sometimes I'll double book someone in different matches, sometimes I'll have too many promos, or sometimes too little promos, or in this case, of the go-home show to the pay-per-view itself, A Night in Hell, I'll book the same match type. In the drafted versions, sort of the blueprint to the KOTR and Immunity storylines, I had both teams compete in 3-on-3 matches. When I found this out, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, now I've got to think of a different match for at least one storyline. Sure, I didn't need to care that much. I could have just had 2 6-man tags in one night and that sort of be it. But that idea sort of annoyed me, just for no reason, just have the same match type. It annoyed me, it frustrated me. I feel like it annoyed me because I didn't want listeners or hypothetical watchers to criticize the lame creativity in giving, 2 big storylines the same stipulation. I wanted to do more than that. After I was done being a little bitch, I realized, you know what? Maybe I can do something with this. I started thinking of ways to make this all make sense, ways to allow these plot advances that I already booked in advance to stay on the show. That way I didn't have to change anything about the stories of this match, and more importantly, it would make sense. Then, just like that, it hit me. Why don't I make this a themed episode? The night of the 6-man tag matches. If I make it the overall identity and vibe of the show, then having multiple versions of the same match type, having different plots within them, wouldn't be a negative. It would, or at least could be, a positive. Then I said, okay, well, I need another 6-man tag match. I mean, 2 is probably a little bit too minimum, and I think 3 is a well-rounded number. And then I realized, well, you know what? 2 minutes ago, I was complaining that there were too many 6-man tags on my show, and now I'm asking for another one? Ridiculous. Now, having 3 of the same match types may seem a little bit overkill, right? But I feel like having these different characters involved, and as I said, the different stories involved going around them, I feel like the outcomes and the stories to them would definitely turn that negativity around. And from here, those fireworks that I talked about, they just sparked up. They ignited. Because not only did I start piecing together some unique situations for my multiple plots, but I've got A Night in Hell coming up next week. A Night in Hell. I've got 3 6-man tag matches the week before. That's the overall idea of the show. A Night in Hell, 666, the number of the beast. That's the name of my episode. What better way to hype up A Night in Hell than by referencing Satan himself the week before? I was so happy about it. I was so excited. And as I said, those fireworks were just lighting up underneath me. Now, despite what it may seem, I'm not sitting here telling you this because I think I'm some sort of wrestling genius. Even though I am. If anything, I was pretty dumb to book the same match type on the same show without even realizing. But what I am trying to get at, though, is that I turned this negative into a positive. I had a problem, and rather than trying to solve it or even ignore it, I decided to go with it. I went with it, and I ended up making the outcome better, I think. On another note, I love sprinkling in themed episodes every now and then for wrestling, giving it a different idea and atmosphere, especially going toward a pay-per-view. And I think that that's why I loved creating it so much. I enjoyed it so much for that reason. So go ahead, check out episode 123. Even though it's not episode 666, I still name it the number of the beast because of the 6-man tag matches that are involved. So yeah, go check that episode out, and also go check out A Night in Hell, episode 124. One of the most chaotic pay-per-views that I've ever booked. So go ahead and check that out, and until then, peace out.